Hey, remember Children of the Corn? Linda Hamilton and some dude are driving across Nebraska and they pull into this town that's full of murderous, brainwashed children. Well, in 1995, those children came back in Children of the Corn 3: Urban Harvest. Now, I figured this year, for the October Horror-thon, I was going to have at least one movie that I watched, one horror movie that was just a total, this is an F, like, just the worst thing ever, and I thought this was going to be that movie, and it was not. Okay, Children of the Corn. Now, this short story, was written in 1977 by Stephen King, of course. Curiously enough, it appeared first in Penthouse magazine and then was contained in Stephen King's book Night Shift in 1978. Now, the story is basically about like rural agricultural America in the Midwest and Nebraska, known for corn, right? I guess. So that movie was about evil kids that worshipped a demon that they thought was God or treated it as their God, and he who walks behind the rose. Eventually all the kids in the town get brainwashed and end up killing all the adults, and these outsiders come in there and I guess they help defeat the cult, defeat the supernatural threat of he who walks behind the rose. It was a pretty freaky movie. I kind of liked it. Then, released probably direct to video, there was a Children of the Corn 2. I think it was like 1992, 93. Now, I've never seen Children of the Corn 2. I could not tell you what that movie is about or what's going on in there. This one, Children of the Corn 3, actually kind of reboots the series, I think. Anyway, it has different characters than I saw in the original Children of the Corn. In here, there's really only 2 Children of the Corn, actual ones. I mean, later on, there's like followers who are part of this cult, and I'll get to that. But there's these 2 brothers, Joshua and Eli, and the opening scenes of this movie are Joshua and Eli. They have this really strict, crazy-ass father who chases them around with a scythe and wants to, like, kill them or something, I guess, and he's like abusive towards his kids, at least to the one kid. The older kid, Joshua. The younger kid, Eli, is like way into this he who walks behind the rose and the whole worship of him, and he's gained like magic powers and things, and you're gonna hear that phrase, he who walks behind the rose, probably 6 or 7 more times just in this review, but in the movie you hear that term like so many times. Anyway, so what is it, the devil? I don't know, apparently it's a demon made out of corn. I'll try and explain that later too. Now, like I was saying, I thought this was going to be an F movie. In terms of the actual quality of the movie, that's pretty close to what I would give this. But the entertainment value of this, oh my god, this is so fucking crazy. And it's so stupid. And I got so many laughs out of this. As a horror movie, I mean, there's even like some decent gore in there. And there's even like some decent scares and stuff in there. But this, overall, I laughed way more than I thought I was going to at this movie. So bad is good? Hell yeah. When it comes to actors in this movie, there's only really one name that you would recognize, and that's Charlize Theron. That's right. Children of the Corn Part 3 was her very first movie. Or I think her first speaking role. She doesn't have very many lines. She's barely in it. She plays one of the followers that Eli, the younger brother and the cult leader acquires later in the movie. The rest of the actors, oh my god, some of them are so terrible, and some of them are so over the top. Like the kid that plays Eli, the preacher, I swear to God, he went to the William Shatner School of Acting. And the other kid that plays Joshua, the older brother, did this kid go to school at all? So anyway, these two kids, after their father dies, they get adopted by this yuppie couple or whatever in Chicago, and thus we're taking the Children of the Corn concept of evil kids murdering people, we're putting it in the big city. That's why it's called Urban Harvest, right? And curiously, the two kids want to sleep in the same bed because they're like, I mean, I guess they're close to being like Amish or whatever in traditions and lifestyle and whatever. Collared shirts and suspenders and what you would expect like some old Amish guy to wear. And the one kid only speaks in like proverbs and whatever. They have dinner, their very first dinner, and the kid like says grace, and instead of talking about God and being thankful and whatever and blah blah blah, he talks about he who walks behind the rose and his return and shit. And the family's like, okay, sure, let's eat. And then, the mom gets really suspicious about the one kid, about Eli. She actually, like, snoops in his luggage, and he's got this, like, suitcase, and it's full of, like, bugs and stuff, and she's all freaked out, and she's like, whoa! And then she confronts him about it, and the kid opens the suitcase for her, and it's full of corn. And the kid's like, oh, I just wanted something to remind us of home. A suitcase full of corn? That would be suspicious enough, but it turns out it's not bugs. It was just like this kid has like superpowers where he can like cloud the minds of others and show illusions. Anyway, this kid's like a supervillain. He's Eli. He's the younger brother. He's like the preacher, and he believes in he who walks behind the rose. And Joshua, meanwhile, is like, well, he's always had to look out for his little brother, but he's not as devoted to this cause or cult or whatever. So Joshua goes on to be like a high school like cool kid. They show him like he's in his suspenders and his collared shirt, and he's like playing basketball against these like cool kids, and he wins, and he's like so awesome and stuff. And then like 2 scenes later, he's like the super coolest kid in school, and of course his evil cult leader brother disapproves. And man, it gets so dumb in here. And when it comes to like the horror parts of the movie, it's hilarious because everything is centered around this corn demon. Eli, the evil kid, plants evil corn around the yard of his new adopted home, and there's like a secret corn patch in there, and there's like evil shit going on, and the kid prays out there and stuff. And meanwhile, the mom's all suspicious because her roses are all dying and shit. But it's because this evil corn is like taking over the yard, and it's like, oh, what the fuck? And then the dad is all interested in this corn. He's like, oh, look at this! It's amazing. This grew in like 2 weeks, and oh my god, this is super corn. We gotta market this, and we gotta make money off of this shit. And that comes up later. The mother, meanwhile, just totally mistrusts Eli. There's a scene where she dies, spoilers, and she goes into the evil corn patch, the evil secret corn patch, and she almost gets like, well, how do you say, corn raped? I mean, remember Evil Dead? The forest rape scene? I mean, that was horrible, right? And this almost got that horrible, but instead she actually dies by like falling on a pipe or something like that and through her head. And anyway, she dies. The dad eventually dies too. Tons of teenagers die, but also a lot of them join Eli's cult because Eli is like preaching to the kids and stuff like that. There's also a preacher. He's very suspicious of Eli. He's part of the school faculty. Doesn't want him spreading this cult. Eli has this like showdown, this like Sith showdown with the guy, and he ends up like, you know, crucifying him upside down and invoking the power of he who walks behind the rose. And then he recruits all these other kids, these local kids, including Charlize Theron, into his cult of he who walks behind the rose. Told you I'd be saying that a bunch of times. And in the end, Joshua has to fight against, you guessed it, he who walks behind the rose. And this part of the movie, the very climax of the movie, the big finale, is awesome. Because you get a like stop motion corn demon. This giant thing, and it's like a corn monster, and it ends up eating a bunch of people, and it's like the shittiest stop motion ever, and it looks like it's holding a Barbie doll and biting the heads off Barbie dolls and stuff, and oh my god, it's so bad, but it's so fucking funny. Oh, and then at the very end, you get like an epilogue too. So Eli has been defeated and his cult is whatever, and everybody's cured. But you get like an epilogue of there's this like German merchant ship is packing all this evil super corn that they bought, and they're making a bunch of money off of, and they're taking it over to Europe. And I wonder if Children of the Corn 4 is like European Harvest. Come to think of it, I don't care. I probably won't see that. This one, though, this came out of nowhere. I mean, I thought it was going to be just another shitty, like, rehash sequel of a franchise I don't give a fuck about. But I laughed my ass off at this because it's so ridiculous. And the gore is there. Like, there's some gore. And the ridiculous corn demon, and the kid that plays Eli is such an overactor. And the other actors are so bad, and it all comes together in this like perfect storm of the perfect bad movie, I think, to watch this Halloween season. Well, not perfect. I mean, it's still pretty shitty. And I don't think that you would enjoy this unless you enjoy it for that like campy angle and, the fact that it's so bad that it's good. If you're not into movies like that, don't watch this. But if you like seeing bad stuff like I do, you gotta see this. So, being as entertaining as it was, I have to give Children of the Corn Part 3, Urban Harvest, a B-. A lot higher than I thought I was going to give it. Like I said, I thought this was going to be my F movie for October. Turns out that was something else. You'll have to watch that video. But yeah, it's fun. It's stupid. And if you like stupid fun, like I do, this is a movie for you. B-. So until actual Halloween, which is coming up pretty soon, I wish everybody the best of the season. Stay safe out there. And have a good one, everybody.